All right, so we've talked about our two main categories of microphones, but there's actually two smaller ones that we're going to talk about. The first one being ribbon microphones. Now, ribbon microphones are very special microphones in that they literally have a small, thin ribbon of material in them that captures the sound. Let me go a little bit further into the details here. So ribbons are similar to dynamic mics in that they don't require phantom power, but they have the advantages of condenser microphones in that they're very great at capturing the detail of the source very accurately. However, there's always a con with something, there's always a catch, right? However, the ribbon microphones are extremely fragile, and this is because, as the name suggests, there's a ribbon of thin metal that is suspended in a strong magnetic field inside. And that ribbon of metal is extremely thin. We're talking thinner than a strand of human hair. That is so tiny, right? And it can easily be broken with too much sound pressure. So you're not going to be putting this microphone on a snare drum. No way. Traditionally, this mic is best suited for things like guitar cabs, brass, woodwind instruments, and capturing wide open sound sources like overheads on a drum kit or choirs. So I don't personally use these microphones, but I've heard and seen these microphones in action on all of those kinds of sound sources, and they are wonderful at that. Probably one of the most popular ones is a pair of Coles microphones, and I've got them up here on the screen here. These microphones are used on countless records. In fact, they were developed by the BBC to create highly detailed captures of whatever they put them in front of, and they just happen to be really good at capturing high SPL information. So they were perfect choices for things like drum overheads. Now, ribbon microphones, you're probably most commonly going to see this one called the Royer 121. The Royer 121 is fantastic on guitar cabs and so good at picking up the details and nuances of electric guitars. But I've still yet to see a case where it makes sense for me to go buy this very fragile microphone when 9 times out of 10, my guitar players these days are using DI systems. So it doesn't make sense for me at this point in time. However, if I was recording a record or something like that, and we had some vintage AC30s from, the 70s, then yeah, I might consider it just because I really want to capture as much detail as possible. So budget-wise, these microphones are expensive and they tend to be very, very fragile. Again, it's not always the best investment to get a microphone that volunteers are going to be using, or if you're like our church where we have kids running around sometimes, it's not the best choice. So ribbon microphones, while they're great at capturing detail and they don't have the worry about the phantom powers and everything like that, it's not always your best choice. But if it's in your budget and it sounds like something that would work for you, you should totally do it because they're great microphones. Do your research and find which one sounds best for you and give it a go. The other thing we're going to talk about in this video is shotgun microphones. Now, shotgun microphones have a specific use case, in my opinion, in the church world, and that's for crowd miking. Now, traditionally, the shotgun microphone was originally intended for capturing single people, such as an interview or for movies where they capture vocal performances on set. The reason why we use them actually in the church world is because we want to capture crowd from a faraway location. So what happens is that we can put these microphones, which are quite long actually, we can put them up, say, by the PA speakers, so they're not in line with it. They're actually not in the pattern of the speakers, but they're only picking up what's way out in front of it because these microphones actually can reach out. They're like super, super sensitive microphones that have ability to like hone in on what's way out there and pick up just the crowd. So these are great for just that isolation of just hearing the voices singing back. And that's great for in-ears, and that's great for broadcast mix or even album recordings because they can help bring that liveliness back to your mixes. So those are our two last categories of microphones. Let's go to the next video.